2 or so years ago pre-COVID. That was a different, no, it was cool.
No, it was us.
You were there.
No, it was the South Bay Republicans.
Oh, South Bay, I apologize, okay.
We
All right.
forgive you.
We blend in.
Okay. Faces are the same, so my
Same
time is all the
faces,
same.
different
Okay,
place.
so, I do want to just kind of explain a little bit what he was just talking about. I did do almost 12 years as a 911 dispatcher. My father's retired, long-term fire. And I've been doing damsel for nearly 8 years now, so safety's just been in my blood all my life. I do have a daughter who just turned 30. She is a 2-time survivor. First was a attempted rape at Cal State Fullerton.
Oh my God.
Second one was a rape by a boyfriend 2 years later. My daughter kept completely silent for 4 years from the first date of her attack. And then that attacker actually came into her work in Lakewood. And he gave her that look that guys will do. Women, you probably realize this, the creepy guys, they'll give you that look up and down, and he goes, oh, you work here? Now we'll definitely apply. Well, statistically, I can tell you there's at least more than one victim in this room already of sexual assault or domestic violence. So if that's the case, you may also know when you push trauma down, it comes out in some way. So my daughter that day came into my house having a full-blown panic attack. I thought she was just raped or something on my porch, and she told me everything that happened to her. 2 weeks later, I went to a self-defense class at my younger children's dojo, and I found out about Damsel, and I decided to sign up just to get the stuff for cheap, because it's a direct sales company, so enrollment kits are cheap. But by the time I hit that enrollment fee, my mind started going on everywhere I needed to share it. And it became my absolute purpose and passion since. In fact, the company itself shared the Bible verse, Genesis 50:20 with us, and it just rang so much to me. I actually made myself a bracelet with it. It's what you intended to harm me, God intended it for good. What is now being done, the saving of many lives. So even though my daughter has been through these awful things, I've been through domestic violence. She has now also been through domestic violence. She's in the middle of a divorce. This has given me my purpose. If I can turn our tragedy and what we've been through into triumph for somebody else, that helps me to serve him. So that's what I'm here for. Even if you don't buy a darn thing from me, I don't care. I want you to learn something from me or from Keith so that you can walk out of here and be safer and more empowered than the moment you walked in. Does that make sense to everybody? Yep. Okay, so I want to go over with you guys. There's a thing called Cooper's Levels of Awareness. Have you ever heard of that? So our levels of awareness are colored tiers. When you're in the white level, this is usually when you're home. This is when you feel the safest. You're not on alert. You're chilling out. You're watching TV with your husband. Your door is locked, or your wife. Your significant other, maybe I should say, because this is a mixed group. So you could be sitting at home. You're in the comfort of your home. You're not scared at all. Okay? Right now, you should at least be in the yellow zone. Okay? Yellow zone is you're at least aware of your surroundings. You know where your exits are. You know that something potentially could happen, and yes, it can happen at home too, but that's just not usually where we are in the yellow. Orange is when there's a perceived threat. So if somebody came through that door right now that none of y'all knew, your spidey senses are turned on, right? You've got those hairs on the back of your neck going, something right here, okay? Then there's the red. The red is the fight zone. This is when that threat turns into an actual potential assault. You are in it. You are fighting for your life. You have to do something to be able to get out. Then there's the black zone. Who can tell me what the black zone is? Black zone is when you freeze. It's when you do absolutely nothing. Why do you think that happens to you? Fear.
Right.
Fear.
Fear.
Right aware.
So I heard a lot of them. Did you?
I think they call it negative panic, don't they?
I haven't heard that term, but I'm not saying
In
it's
an airline accident.
Okay.
People will sit there and they won't move.
It is a freeze response, right? And the reason we go into a freeze response is because we have no plan. We have no plan, we have not trained, we never thought this would happen to us, so oh my gosh, our body goes into shock, we have that adrenaline rush, and what do I do now? And because we don't know what to do now, we just freeze. Now there's also an Air Force training having to do with that. It's called OODA loop. It's observe, orient, decide, and act. Everything we do, our brain has to go through the OODA loop 2 times before our body will move. If we have no plan, or we're always assuming nothing will ever happen to me, we can't move through that OODA loop fast enough for our body to react. Now, does that make you at fault for what happens to you? No, okay?
Thank you.
If somebody were to come up and try and assault you and you freeze and you end up raped or worse or God knows, is that your fault at any time?
No.
No.
I want to hear it from everybody. Is that
No.
your fault at any time? No, okay? Just because you didn't have a plan doesn't mean they had a right to put their hands on you, okay? Still, this is the scientific reason it happens. And I can tell you, you will have a better chance of not freezing if you start to train your brain and your body, and you create a plan. And that's what Keith and I are trying to teach you to do. Have a plan of attack. Have the tools to defend yourself. Have the skills to defend yourself. Get some more training, whether it's Keith or any sort of place you can go to learn to use your body, because God gave us 10 weapons. What are they?
Fingers.
Hands are one. Actually, hands are two, because we have 2 of them if we're lucky. Okay. What else?
Feet.
Feet's 2. That's your mouth, yes, and that can be used multiple ways.
Knee.
Knees, 2. Nails are part of your hands.
Your head.
Your head is 1. Where was I now? And your elbows are the other 2. So you've got those weapons already on your body. Now, if it was body to body and I went up against Keith with his training and I had nothing else with me, who's gonna win? Now, if I go up against Keith and I've got all the weapons I carry and he doesn't have his, do I have a better fighting chance?
Yes.
Heck yes, because I'm leveling the playing field. Okay? Most men are biologically, physiologically stronger than most women. Okay? We're usually the smaller sex women. Okay? But men can go through stuff too. We were just talking about it with you, right? It doesn't happen to just women. And especially when you guys are activists and you're out there trying to make changes in your community, it can happen even more. We know this, right? So we need to have some kind of plan. First and foremost, what is the #1 tool in your self-defense toolbox?
Awareness.
Good. Yep, you and you, both of you. He's back there pointing at his brain. You spoke it out. Situational awareness. When you walked in this room, did you figure out your exits?
Yeah.
I opened them.
Good. And thank you for having them open. I always feel safer if everything's wide open. Okay? Always do. You gotta know your exits. You gotta pay attention to the people around you and their behavior. Right now, we've reinstated mask mandates. Guess what happens then? You know how easy it is for criminals to get away with what they want to get away with when they have complete anonymity? If I put on sunglasses, a hat, and a mask, you wouldn't even think twice though looking at me because the government's telling us to wear them. Right? But I can commit a crime and it's going to be really stinking hard for you to identify me. Well, maybe not if I have hair sticking out. So what are you going to look at now? If somebody tries to commit a crime against you, Arthur, it was when? Yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Any of those assailants wearing masks?
Yes. All of them were.
Okay. So what could you tell me about any of them that would help the police identify them had the police not been there to witness your attack?
Yeah. It would have been very little. You know.
Very little. I want you to start looking at build. So the size of them, about approximate height. How are they built? Are they muscular? Are they flabby? Are they really skinny? I want you to think about not just what they wear, because I'm telling you it's real easy to peel off layers. If somebody hurts you and is running down the street, it's very easy for them to throw a hoodie in a trash can. You know what they don't change? Their shoes. They don't change their shoes. So
That's
try and pay
right.
attention to their shoes. Pay attention to skin color. Pay attention to any permanent markings. You see me, I've got tattoos. Hey, that woman got tattoos on her arms, okay? Now, I mean, they're not threatening tattoos, and my dad's handwriting says I love you has his ashes in it, but whatever, okay? They're not anything threatening. They're not gang markings, but it's still something you can identify me no matter what I do. I can change my hair color, I can change my clothes, I can't change my tattoos or my scars very easily, correct? Okay, so you need to be paying attention to those things. That's the start of your plan. What's the second thing in your toolbox? So first thing, situational awareness. What's your next step to keep you safe? How about learning how to make some noise? Now this is where the OODA loop serves you with your attacker, okay? Because you're
spell OODA.
OODA. It's observe, orient, decide, and act, okay? Your attacker also has to process through his OODA loop before he's taking the step to act. You do anything he didn't envision happening, and it can throw him off and throw him on his heels, okay? So that can be your deterrent. A simple back off can work really well, okay? So anytime I say the word threat from here on out, I want to hear you guys yell back off at me. Can you do that? All right. Threat!
Back off.
Back off.
That's decent. And for the women especially, I want you to learn to make it really like take out your mama voice, your teacher voice, whatever, make it come from your gut, because back off sounds a whole lot different than back off. Okay? Because most of these attackers are taking you on because they believe that you are weak. They believe that you are not going to be able to defend yourself. They think you're not going to fight back and you're not going to create a scene. Show them right away you're going to create a scene. And I'm not going to do it here, but I am going to tell you back the F off is more effective, especially coming from a woman's mouth. Because if it is a man attacking, which statistically we all know, that is more often, okay? It's not always though, so if there is a woman giving you the EBGBs, don't discount it, all right? But if it is a man attacking and he has chosen you because he thinks you're weak, that word just makes him go, whoa, and think twice. And that's what you want him to do, think twice. Because if you upset that OODA loop, he's gone all the way back to the observe part, and that gives you the chance to get away, okay? But you've made noise, he's still approaching, now what do? He or she. You can't get away, what do you gotta do? Keith just showed you. You gotta fight. You gotta fight, and you gotta have a plan to do it. So let's go over some of the tools Keith was talking about. Now he was a little bit unsure about the legalities of a Kubotan. You'll see right here, I have actually right on my purse, I have pepper spray and a Kubotan, and I have it on a quick release breakaway keychain. So if it wasn't already in my hands, I have it in an instant, and I'm ready to go, okay? Do not ever, if you're gonna carry anything, putting it in the bottom of your purse, or like, remember when he was searching for his Kubotan, couldn't find it at first? How does that serve you in the moment of attack? It's got to be right there, and you've got to practice getting to it. Now, Keith, can I use you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Keith's going over the Kubotan and the tactical pen. These both work pretty much the same way. They're both, like he said, force multipliers. It's going to make any strike more effective than your bare hand. Even if I were to straight punch him, this is going to reinforce my fist. But using this tool, it doesn't matter. I can hold it either way. I can hold it with the point facing towards my thumb, or I can hold it ice pick style. It doesn't matter. Ice pick style, I can give him a good stab with it. But what's great is this can also be used to redirect. So one of the training videos actually, Dan's the release. Keith, can you go right here for me? Pretend this is a doorway, and you're blocking the doorway. You don't want to let me out. Okay, put your hand up right there like you're going to just block that doorway. Well, I'm going to think twice and not let him restrict me there. I can push in right here. I can push in right here. Anywhere those pressure points are. Am I going to cause him permanent injury with that? No, but I'm going to get him the heck out of there. Of course, I can do a lot of other things too, but this is going to be the most easy and passive way to do it is by taking it to a pressure point like behind the arm, behind the neck, and get him out of the way. Because like you guys were talking about going to court and having to defend yourself, that's what you want to do. If you want to be able to get out of there and not necessarily have to deal with all that, just use it that way. Now a strike, if I were to strike him anywhere, right here, anywhere central, right here, okay, with enough force, I could take his life or cause permanent injury. Am I going to do that if I need to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, okay? I'm going to do that if I need to do that, but if I can do it instead by jabbing him in the arm so that he leaves me alone first, I'll try those first. Unless he has a weapon, then I'm not going to try those first. I'm going to take him out before he takes me out. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, now the restrictions on that. You can sit for now. I'm going to bring you again.
Oh, that works.
Restrictions on these. Okay. Kubotan cannot take through TSA. This would be a felony to carry through TSA even with the key ring on it. Okay. It is allowed for your normal daily life. A lot of places though have rules against it. Definitely don't take it to the courthouse. So federal buildings are a big no-no. But places like amusement parks, concerts, stuff like that, it's not against the law, but it is against their rules. They will tell you you either have to take it to your car or they're going to take it from you. Tactical pen's a little bit different. Any place can choose to confiscate it, but I have taken this on an airplane in my carry-on 13 times and never even been questioned about it. I just put it in with my computer and my other pens, and they've never said a word. They had torn apart my carry-on because I carry a crap ton of snacks, and said, don't like all my food in there, but they've torn it apart to make sure all that was, and that was right there. They saw it perfectly, and they didn't say a word, okay? So it is, this one's possible. They could still, like I said, they could still confiscate it if they realize that my purpose with it is for self-defense. But this one is prosecutable. That's your big difference, okay? This one, however, like I said, daily life, walking around, that's why I like to have this for just doing whatever I do. It's right on my purse, it's ready to go, I'm good to go. It's important though to have your close contact weapon. Yes, ma'am?
What are those two, the one that you can carry and the one?
Tactical pen?
Mhm.
And Kubotan is the one that has more restrictions.
Oh, that's the one he was talking about.
Yes.
But I didn't know how to
Yes.
spell. Okay.
And I know Keith mentioned our tactical pens have a flashlight. They do also have a strobe. So that can be something you use to disorient an attacker. Yes?
Is there a limit on the length of Kubaton that we're allowed?
You know, I'm
here
not
in
sure.
California?
I know ours are within the limit. I'm not sure if anywhere there's written a limit. There must be though, because at some point it becomes a full-fledged baton. Kubaton is a short baton, so I'm not sure where it would be categorized as full baton. Okay? All right. Yes, sir.
I noticed something she said that I caught when you said it, and this is very important. She said, if they assume that she's using it for self-defense, remember you said that?
Instead of just a pen.
Right. Now think about that, the mindset. I have something for self-defense, which is the first law of nature, and is part of our Constitution.
Right.
Yet, if you're using it for self-defense, can't have that. So I just thought
You know, and I teach the kids too that I've had some kids that have had trouble walking to and from school, that their parents want them to have something. They can't have pepper spray in the high schools, middle schools, so forth. This is the pen. They can be doing their homework. You know, do a little plausible deniability lying when you need to. Oh, that's a self-defense weapon? Oh my gosh, somebody gave that to me, told me it was a pen. I just like the way it runs. You know, act stupid when you have to. If it means your safety, I'm sorry, God's gonna forgive you for lying when you're talking about keeping yourself safe, okay? All right, so now let me go through pepper spray, because pepper spray is the first defense most people think about it, and it really is the easiest to get, because I've actually seen pepper spray at the Dollar Tree. Am I going to bet my life on the pepper spray I got at the Dollar Tree? No, I am not, okay? Not all pepper spray is created equal. Most people do not know that. Pepper spray, effective pepper spray, is going to range anywhere between 1.2 major capsaicinoids to 1.4 major capsaicinoids. So we took it a little step further and made ours 1.45, and it is still legal in this state, okay? The major capsaicinoids are the most important thing for you to know. What I didn't know, for years I thought it was your OC content, but because somebody can have a different oleoresin capsicum content with other ingredients, that doesn't really necessarily go down to how well it's diluted. So major capsaicinoids let you really know how hot it is. If you're gonna buy a pepper spray and it doesn't tell you that, don't buy it, okay? If you already have a pepper spray and it doesn't tell you that, well then we have some trouble. Also know that pepper spray does expire. If you've had pepper spray, like where's that gentleman that I was talking to at the break? Oh, there he is. He's had one in his pocket, God knows how long, the label is worn off of it, okay? Pepper spray does expire, throw that away. Every 2 years at maximum, you wanna get yourself a fresh pepper spray, because the propellant is what expires first. And if you don't get it freshened up, you're gonna have that dribbling down your hand when you need it most, okay? You don't want that to happen. Now something else with ours, our little guys, this little guy here, he'll shoot up to 16 feet in optimal conditions. Okay? And it shoots a stream. It is water-based. You want it water-based. Those gels out there can be wiped off. Water-based gets in all the mucous membranes. So if they can fight through the pain of the burn, they can't fight through the instant inflammation of the mucous membranes or the dilating of the pupils or any of that. So when you use your pepper spray, he showed you how to hold it properly. He's so right on that. I see a lot of people being little dainty girls. Even men do this sometimes with their pinky up, and I think that's so silly. When I'm in this position, I can also punch with this in my hand and use it to reinforce my fist if they come up on me too fast. But I also have my thumb to guide it better so that I have better control. And I'm gonna do it like Zorro across somebody's face, because I'm gonna get all those mucous membranes, and I'm gonna cover them in that UV dye that our pepper spray contains, so that he glows under a UV light for up to a week. And I know I keep saying he, gentlemen, I am not a man hater. It's just a whole lot easier than me saying he, she, it, they. I don't. I'm not doing that. Okay? So you guys got the idea on pepper spray? Now the other thing that Keith brought up was that if this pepper spray got taken from me, yes, it could be turned against me, but our company came up with a solution for that. So we have pepper sprays. These are not meant to go on the keychain. This has a disable pin feature. If I have this around my wrist, my pepper spray in my hand, Keith, go ahead and take this from me. Okay, now go ahead and try and spray it. It's not going to spray. It took out a piece of the case, so there is no counter pressure on the bottom of the canister. Okay, so they cannot spray it if they take it from you. This is our protected pepper, but we took it a step further. We have the protected pepper with shield. This is Bluetooth enabled to an app in my phone. When I set this pepper spray off, it tells that app in my phone to send a text alert to 5 pre-programmed people, tell them I'm in trouble, and tell them where I am, so that they can get the police.
Wow.
I told you I worked 911 for almost 12 years. I know the gap. From the moment you see the threat, to the time you're forced to fight, to the time, God willing, you get out of that fight safely and get somewhere safe where you can call the police and then you have the response time, it could be 3 minutes, it's gonna feel like 3 hours. Wow. But what if in the moment I feel that threat, what if Keith is making me really uncomfortable? And I even just push the button, I'm not ready to use my spray. I'm pushing the button, I'm keeping an eye on him. I now have help on the way to me. If my family's local to where I'm at, they're gonna be on their way while they're on the phone with 911. Great part about it is that app resends the signal on the intervals that you choose, so that every minute, mine's set for a minute, if I'm running down the street, it's gonna re-give them a new location. Until I open up my phone, I say I'm safe, and I put in a PIN number, and that PIN number is the only way it'll send out the I'm safe signal. So bad guys getting your phone can't lie and say you're safe. Does that make sense? So, and that alert will also go off automatically if you spray the pepper spray. So if the pepper spray is in that open position where you can go to spray, it's gonna push that button automatically. So even if you don't see the threat in advance and you're already in the fight, that's gonna send the alert as well. Any questions on that? Yeah, I kind of love our shield technology. Okay, but there's a reason that, I'm gonna leave that back there because it doesn't have an inert canister. There's a reason they call me Stun Gun Jen. It's kind of my favorite thing. I like stun guns for multiple reasons. One being, yes, you have that flashlight. Like he said, you can go ahead and give somebody a good blind spot, and that can possibly be all you need at all. Ours take a little safety key that goes around my wrist. So if you'll see here, when I have it on, do you guys see that little red light there?
Yes.
Yeah, that means it's armed. You're gonna see I'm not gonna push anything. That light instantly goes off. So you can play with this all you want. That's why I can safely leave them on my table, even when I'm out of the room. I don't have to worry somebody's gonna hurt themselves if they start to handle my products and don't know what they're doing. But as long as I have that, now I have a threat coming at me. Back off! Think they're still coming? Okay, so deterrent value alone of a stun gun is fan-stinking-tastic. Our stun guns, though, do back up their bark with a big bite. They are 18 milliamps of power. That is more than you need for a weapons-level stun gun. Stun guns, though, you cannot think it's like the movies. They don't stun and go unconscious. You don't get to carry them off and tie them in a chair somewhere and then interrogate them later. You stun and run, you get somewhere safe, you call the police. And this is true about every one of our tools. If you use our tools in self-defense, or any tools from any company in self-defense, you must call the police and you must tell them you feared for your life, and that's why you use that weapon. Otherwise, if they're the ones that call, the assault charges are now on you. That's how you protect yourself best with the law. So if I had to pepper spray you for any reason, okay, and this is another reason pepper spray isn't usually my first defense, but the one with shield, because I can get help to me. It's kind of like, I like both. I want my stun gun and my shield spray. But if I pepper spray him from 16 feet away, there can be the burden of proof on, was I really in danger? But if you're in my space enough for me to stun you because it is a direct contact weapon, you were in my space. I feared for my life. I did not invite you here. Okay, bless you, bless you. It is never, I thought he was gonna take my purse, they were gonna rob me, they were gonna steal my car. It is always, I feared for my life. You understand that? That's really important to know when you're using any sort of self-defense device.
All right, call 911. That's what you say.
911,
Yeah.
report it to the police immediately. Even if you think, oh, they weren't that bad and I'm fine, I'm not gonna, whatever, I'm over it. Don't do that. Okay, because they can even call a day later and you're still under assault charges. Yes.
Is my space considered 2 feet from you, 3 feet? You don't want anybody that close, but.
Well, you don't want them that close,
Less than
but a lot of assaults happen from the back, do they not?
Yeah.
For men and women.
Yeah.
So for a prime example, and I'm gonna take this off of my person, my disabled pin, because I'm known for popping it in on habit. So before I use Keith, I have to make sure it is not in my possession. Keith, come here real quick for me, would you?
Oh my God.
Now, if all I'm gonna carry, go ahead and come up behind me and put me in a chokehold. If all I'm gonna carry is my pepper spray, what am I gonna do? I don't even know where his face is. I'm coating both of us. I've got to have something. This is why I layer my protection. I always have more than one item. Now, I could take my Kubotan and I could drive it right into his thigh. I could drive it into his groin. I could drive the back end into his face. I could drive it into his arm. I could even stick it in his elbow, poke it that way, and if he leaves his thumb exposed, peel off and be able to strike him. Okay? Lots of ways I can use that. If all I have, or if I have my stun gun in my hand, which usually this is how you'll find me, I'll have this stuff either secondary here or on the arm candy, like you see my pink one on the display. It's a dangle, so I have all three in one hand. But if he were to come up behind me now, go ahead and do it again. This is so easy to just reach back and tag him in the thigh. And the thigh is one of the best places to get him because you want to hit a large muscle group. Okay? This is not a large muscle group. Sorry, gentlemen. It's not a large muscle group. It would still feel like a heck of a kick to the groin. Okay? But what a stun gun does is it causes extreme pain for one, but it also exhausts the muscle. So if I hit him in the thigh and I can hold it for a second or two, good chance he's going to the ground, better chance he's not going to be able to run after me. So even if he doesn't go all the way down, he's going to be going like this, trying to get me after. That's why we say stun and run, don't stick around and admire your work. Get somewhere safe, you can call the police. Yes, sir.
I always, just say before that, you're grounded, right? I mean, so it doesn't affect
Right.
you. That's very
It
important.
stays local to the muscle group
Yeah.
you hit. It's not like you see in some movies or this is not a taser. Tasers are actually designed to get a larger muscle group. They're not as easy for civilians to use and train with. With a taser, they shoot out prongs in wider directions. If both don't attach to your attacker, it doesn't do you any good. You have to be able to pull the cartridge out, and if your taser does have a stun part to it, you can then stun your attacker. But how many of us have that kind of speed, right? Whereas this, I can use it multiple times. If I had multiple of you come after me, I could just keep buzzing along. Because they are rechargeable, they charge with micro USB, they tell you how charged they are, and they have a lifetime warranty against any defects. So even, and an incident replacement warranty. So even if Keith came at me, let me put that over there again, I don't trust myself. If Keith came at me, even if I were to punch him with this in my hand, because again, this is gonna reinforce my fist, he was able to show a bigger flashlight because he has giant hands. This still protrudes from both ends of my hand. I could use it as a blunt force thing as well as a stun. If I were to do that and this were to break and I did that in self-defense, with my police report, my company would still replace it for free. Even though it wasn't used as a stun at the time, because I had to hit him for some reason, that's okay. Okay, but this is pretty sturdy. I drop it like all the time. Shouldn't do that, but yeah. Do you have the idea? Know what I'm talking about? Any questions on that? Okay. If you are going to fly, make sure you put any of these tools in your checked baggage, with the exception of potentially the tactical pen. We also have doorstop alarms and so forth to keep you safe while you're traveling or at home. Even the necklace I'm wearing is a damsel defense tool because remember I taught you to make noise. Sometimes that's all you need to be able to disrupt the OODA loop of your attacker to give you time to get away. Okay. Any questions? Did I ramble through that fast enough for your guys' timers?
How does the doorstop alarm?
The doorstop alarm, actually, you just put it behind the door when you go to sleep.
That's it.
You set it to either low or high sensitivity. Low sensitivity, you actually have to hit the plate.
No.
High sensitivity, hard to put it on. High sensitivity, you just tap it and it goes off. They also put a suction cup on the bottom so it can be used in your sliding glass doors and your windows. So I always take at least 2 when I travel, and these can be carried on. So if you're taking a short trip and you're not checking baggage, you absolutely can still secure your space.
That's good.
Yeah. Any others?
So you can carry that on?
Yes. It's not a weapon, it's just an alarm. Yeah.
At the very beginning, you had a saying, could you repeat that?
Was that my Genesis 50:20?
Yeah.
It was, what you intended to harm me, God intended it for good. What is now being done, the saving of many lives.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
So I also I make jewelry, so I actually made myself a bracelet with that on it to always remind me why I do what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Esther.
That was Joseph.
No, that is
That was
Joseph.
Joseph,
Yes.
I'm not a big Bible studier. This was shared to me by my company, so I'm not going to be able to tell you that part.
Wonderful.
But,
That's right, that was Joseph.
Yeah.
but that one just meant a lot to me, so I kind of keep it close to my heart. Any other questions about any of the tools or tactics we discussed?
So, in the vein of preventing a sexual assault happening, in your situation, you said you had it happen twice.
My daughter did.
Oh my
Your
God.
daughter was the
Yes.
person.
And 82% of attacks will happen by people you know. Those are the people you allow in your space,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Is it your fault?
I mean, I envision a parking lot. Or
Nope. That's kind of a masked man myth. Yes, those do happen. The random attacks absolutely do happen. But 82% of all assaults are people that we know. Yeah.
82%.
82%. And, you know, it's, right now, I believe they're starting to, re-up these statistics for rape survivors, so I believe they're moving it to 1 in 4, it used to be 1 in 6 women were survivors of rape. It's 1 in 16 men at last check, so yes, rape does happen to men.
Yeah.
It's also probably reported less on both sides. My daughter never reported hers. 97% of rapists will never serve a day in jail. Partially because it's not reported, other half of that is because people are never believed. Unfortunately, yes.
So, if you count the rape assaults, and all the other types of assaults, other than firearms, I'm getting to a point here, where, you know, they always say the firearms is the big, I mean, that's the big thing. But if it's an assault without a firearm, you know, it could be any of the other stuff. Would you say that outnumbers the amount of assaults and killings with firearms?
Oh God, I have no idea. I have no idea statistically
I'm just
what we're
wondering if
talking about.
anybody knows that.
Well, the number one thing in New York City now is knifings. It's not
Yeah.
gun shootings, it's
Okay.
They just started allowing stun guns in New York. They actually
Wow.
interviewed me for an article in the New York.
What? You mean like there's a move towards people defending themselves more?
They're allowed to have
Amazing.
stun guns now. They didn't used to be allowed to have stun
They-
guns or peppers. Well, pepper spray they could have, but they had to buy it from like a pharmacy or something in New York. They couldn't buy it from our company. Like you couldn't ship it to anyone there. They had to buy it from a
Big
brick and
pharma.
mortar. Or they could
Right.
like if one of my clients was moving there or traveling there, I believe they were allowed to carry our pepper spray. You just can't buy it there unless it's certain places. But a stun gun you couldn't even get at all legally before.
And
But
pepper
within the
spray-
last year or so we changed that.
And pepper spray is natural, I mean, it's not like you're using a chemical, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm-
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some chemicals in there because you've got to have a propellant and so forth, but it's not a poison.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
How can a child defend themselves?
Oh,
Whew, that one's tough. So we actually have a whole line of books, first of all, to teach children the right to defend themselves. That's
Yeah.
from, their body boundaries, speaking up against authority that is making them uncomfortable, so forth and so on, and always reporting to a trusted adult. That's our Safe Hearts line. I didn't bring it because we weren't talking on that. But there are no age restrictions to tactical pens or Kubotans, or of course our personal alarms. So I have a couple of different personal alarms over there. What I can also tell you, which I'm probably gonna get in trouble for, but whatever, I'm gonna do it anyway. We do have an alarm in the process. We were hoping to have it releasing this next weekend. It's gonna do the same thing as our pepper spray with Shield. So any child that has a smartphone could be able to use that alarm to be able to alert their parents anytime they're in danger. And of course, adults will be able to use that too. So if that's something that interests you, no, we don't have it now. There was a problem in the engineering. We will not release it till we know it's 100% on par. So we are working on it day and night. If you are interested in that, get on my list. Make sure you leave me your information so as soon as it's released, we can get it in your hands. Yes.
Okay, so like you gave the example where Keith was blocking the doorway. Are you in a position like you're being assaulted? I mean, do you have like full legal protection to push him?
He's restraining me
Okay,
without my consent. That's like
got it.
prime example, my daughter's domestic violence incident. God, don't get me started. 26 beers that man had that day. 26 beers and started
whoa.
spewing God knows what.
Okay.
He's so lucky I was on the Central Coast when this happened. He
Okay.
tried to go for his car keys. My daughter put her body in front of him because she didn't want him to drive and kill some family on the road because he was drunk as a stinking skunk. And he assaulted her to get her out of his way. She had a giant handprint bruise here. She was completely swollen from here to here from soft tissue damage. He actually threw her twice. He was also the one who ran out of the house and called 911. So guess who got arrested?
Oh,
My daughter, who didn't put her hands on that man. He didn't have a single injury. She was 100% sober and compliant while he was threatening cops, yelling racial slurs, and completely drunk out of his mind. But like I said, the person who makes the call is deemed the victim until an investigation. My daughter was never formally charged. I still had to pay felony bail to get her out of jail, but she was never formally charged.
Okay.
So that's the same thing in the regular assault.
The police didn't see the bruises? Or?
They saw the bruises, doesn't matter. In domestic violence, they gotta take somebody out as fast as possible to separate the two parties, which they would do, I'm sure, in any sort of assault situation. They've got to just go with, he's the one who called, we have to assume he's the victim. Yes.
So, okay, I appreciate. Okay, so it's like if I'm in a scenario and I'm trying to get to my car and somebody's blocking me, I can do one of those actions.
Do you have another way to get in your car?
So no, there was, yeah.
So you, in this case, in the top, what you're talking about, you'd have to be parked against the wall because you can't get in on your passenger side.
Okay.
So if you can get in on your passenger side, you can't go.
What I mean is getting to my car. Like I'm in a building walking
If
somewhere.
you're in a building, trying to walk out, and they are blocking the doorway, refusing to let you through, then yes, you should be able to do something to get them out of your way.
Now you just bring up another situation. This brings up another question. So like if I can't get into my, but I have to be able to drive. So if they're
You
this,
just climb over your console.
so okay,
I wouldn't take the chance with getting arrested in that case. I would go around the other side of my vehicle.
okay.
And
if
I wouldn't use my clicker because that's going to unlock the driver's door too. I would use my key if you can. A lot of
okay,
cars nowadays you can't.
I mean you're seeing we have to like
Yes.
all these legalities. It's just ridiculous.
I'm totally 100%.
You understand where I'm coming from.
A lot of our legalities, unfortunately,
Hey, I gotta, thanks so much. I really appreciate this. I'm an activist, so they do all kinds of crap to us. So, you know, I'm not in that 82%. These are people I don't know. So, okay. This is a different line of work.
Okay.
Well, I need to, no, let me ask this. Okay.
Well, can you ask her privately?
Okay. Well, did someone else have a question? I'm sorry.
That we're wanting to take.
Did someone else have another question? I was listening. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much, Jen.
Just so you guys know, I do have products here. If you want to walk out the door with any of our resources, I have them. And I do have a special. Just ask me when we're done.
Please hang around and